Honorable Justice Ogwuegbu was not just a judge, he was a torchbearer of justice whose career spanned more than 4 decades of unwavering dedication to the bench. His Lordship's life's work was defined by a fierce loyalty to the Constitution, an abiding respect for the rule of law, and an unshakable belief in the power of justice to uphold society's most sacred values. Throughout his illustrious judicial career, he brought to bear a rare combination of erudition, clarity, and compassion. He was a jurist who wrote with precision, reasoned with rigor, and adjudicated with fairness. His judgments did not merely resolve disputes, they elevated our jurisprudence, speaking to the conscience of a nation and strengthening the pillars upon which our democracy rests. Born on the 16th day of March 1993 in Amayi, Ihite, Uboma local government area of Imo State, Honorable Justice Ogwuegbu's early years were marked by academic brilliance and a clear sense of purpose. His Lordship's early education started at St. Teresa's School, Amayi, Ihite, Etiti, from 1940 to 1947, and St. Teresa's School, Ikenanzizi, Obowo, Imo State, 1947, before proceeding to St. Patrick's College, Calabar, in 1948 for his post-primary education. His journey into the legal profession began at the University of Liverpool, England, where he obtained his LLB in 1960. His Lordship was called to the English bar at Middle Temple in November 1961 and enrolled in the Supreme Court of Nigeria on the 26th day of October 1962 as a barrister and solicitor. His Lordship undertook a postgraduate course at the School of Oriental and African Studies, University of London, and was awarded a Master of Laws degree, LLM, in 1962, an early indication of the intellectual depth that would define his legal career. From his early days in private practice in 1962, through his appointments as magistrate, senior magistrate, High Court judge, Justice of the Court of Appeal, and ultimately Justice of the Supreme Court, his Lordship exemplified excellence at every level. His Lordship was appointed a judge of the High Court of Imo State in November 1976, where he quickly distinguished himself by his judicial acumen and administrative efficiency. His Lordship served as the administrative judge of the Owerri Judicial Division from 1976 to 1979, and in 1980 was entrusted with the same leadership responsibility in the Aba Judicial Division. His deep understanding of the law and quiet strength of character earned him elevation to the Court of Appeal in September 1987, where his Lordship served with distinction in both the Ibadan and Lagos divisions. In April 1992, he was appointed to the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Such was the caliber of his reputation that in December 1999, the federal government seconded him to serve on the Supreme Court bench of the Gambia, where his Lordship contributed to the development of jurisprudence beyond our borders. His Lordship discharged this international duty with characteristic humility, honor, and judicial excellence before returning to continue his service at the Supreme Court until his retirement on the 16th day of March 2003, when he attained the constitutional retirement age of 70. As a Justice of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, his Lordship contributed significantly to the shaping of our modern legal landscape. His Lordship's deep insight and fearless reasoning were particularly evident in cases that advanced constitutional governance, individual liberties, and the devolution of powers. In the case of Attorney General of the Federation against Attorney General of Abia State and others, citation provided, his Lordship lucidly interpreted the revenue allocation principles under Section 162, subsection 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, underscoring the importance of derivation as a critical element of fiscal federalism. His Lordship also made a lasting contribution to labor jurisprudence in Underwater Engineering Company Limited and another against Dubefon, citation provided, where he affirmed that an employer cannot retrospectively terminate a contract of employment to deny an employee entitlements that had already accrued during the period of actual service. Furthermore, in the landmark case of Attorney General of Ondo State against Attorney General of the Federation and others, citation provided, Honorable Justice Ogwuegbu expounded on the legislative competence of the National Assembly, articulating when federal laws may validly touch on areas traditionally within state jurisdiction, particularly when addressing matters of national concern such as corruption. These pronouncements remain foundational references in constitutional and administrative law. Honorable Justice Ogwuegbu was not content to sit within the hallowed walls of the courtroom alone. He actively contributed to the development of law and policy beyond the bench. His editorial work on law reports, service as chairman of ATIKU Divisional Council, East Central State of Nigeria between 1972 and 1975, and membership of various legal reform committees are just a few examples of how deeply invested His Lordship was in the broader improvement of his community and the Nigerian legal system. He was vice chairman of the NBA Umuahia branch between 1975 and 1976 and participated in panels focused on customary law, reform, and judicial rules development, his influence reverberating well beyond the pages of the law reports. But beyond the brilliance of his legal mind, it was the gentility of his spirit that endeared him to many. He was a judge of great dignity, humility, and empathy, qualities that humanized the law and brought comfort to those who sought justice. He listened intently, decided fairly, and treated all who came before him with respect and decency. As we bid farewell to this great jurist, we are reminded of the words of Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes, Jr., and I quote, "The life of the law has not been logic, it has been experience," unquote. Indeed, Honorable Justice Ogwuegbu's life enriched our law with experience, compassion, and wisdom. His contributions continue to illuminate our courts, and his legacy remains embedded in the moral and legal consciousness of our nation. The moment of tribute is also a moment of reflection. The challenges facing our judiciary, delays in justice delivery, dwindling public confidence, and resource constraints are not insurmountable. We are currently working very hard to make a change. His Lordship's life offers a blueprint for renewal, integrity, learning, service, and courage. Let us honor his memory not only with words, but with a renewed commitment to the ideals he so nobly upheld. To his beloved family, we extend our deepest sympathies. Your grief is shared by all of us in the legal community. Your husband, father, grandfather, and brother was a national treasure, one whose life and legacy will continue to inspire generations. As we commend his soul to eternal rest, may we also draw strength from his example. His Lordship walked his path with dignity and grace. Let us continue the journey he helped shape.
Once again, to bid farewell to the erudite jurist who left us on 28th of October 2024 at a very ripe age of 91 years, following a life of selfless and dedicated service that extended beyond the shores of our nation. I recall that in his speech at the Valedictory Court session, Honorable Justice Ogwuegbu stated, and I quote, "That I am alive today is only by the special grace of God. My recovery from a surgical complication in the United Kingdom is indeed a miracle. For his boundless mercies, to my family and myself in preserving and protecting us, I must and shall continually thank the Almighty God." Unquote. Though he had a relapse which kept him alive for a long time, he still thanked God for the longevity which his lordship enjoyed as he remained on this planet for more than 22 years after he bowed out from this court. It is therefore with great sense of solemn responsibility and shared loss that I enjoined other well-wishers in paying tribute and celebrating the life and times of our dear father, mentor, and icon, the late Honorable Justice Emmanuel Ogwuegbu, who lived a life entirely committed to the cause of national service. I also wish to commend my noble Lord, the Honorable the Chief Justice of Nigeria, my noble Lord, Honorable Justice Kekere-Ekun, GCON, and his brother justices for making this day a special day for us to celebrate late Honorable Justice Ogwuegbu, whose dedication, hard work, selflessness, and humility contributed immensely in shaping our case law and development of our legal system. Honorable Justice Ogwuegbu was a man of utmost dignity and candor. He was humble, simple, and unassuming, resilient with deep faith which guided his actions while in service. He was popularly and warmly referred to as Justice Goodheart, in due deference to his kindness and generous disposition. He had enormous influence among generations of judges and lawyers across the country. The late Honorable Justice Ogwuegbu was a man of many parts and an epitome of hard work. He had a unique middle name, Emmanuel, with single M, with a single letter M. It was said that somebody misspelled his English forename during his baptism, and he decided to stick to that spelling to avoid inconsistent records. So if you look at the law reports, it's a single M. From his early life and education, from his early life and education through his years in public service, private practice, and subsequent judicial career, late Honorable Justice Ogwuegbu was very assiduous, focused, and resilient. He was among a few of the old breed of Nigerian judges who, by dint of hard work, rose from the lowest rung of the bench to the apex court. Born on the 16th of March 1933. I'll skip that because my noble Lord, the Honorable the Chief Justice, has dealt with that. My first encounter with his lordship was in 1988 when he was posted to the Court of Appeal, Ibadan Judicial Division, and I had the honor of appearing before him and other eminent juries such as the late Honorable Justice Muhammad Mustafa Adebayo Akanbi, the former president of Court of Appeal and the first ICPC chairman, late Honorable Justice Ezekiel Omololu Thomas, Honorable Justice Ibrahim Kolapo Sulu Gambari, now His Royal Majesty, the Emir of Ilorin, and Honorable Justice Thompson Akpabio, who all dominate the bench of the Court of Appeal Ibadan Judicial Division, dominated the bench of Ibadan Judicial Division at that time. During his lifetime, he was a mentor and a father figure to me and gave me immense and extensive support in my career. It is not possible on an occasion like this to chronicle all the contributions, judgment, rulings, and advisories he rendered that will be for some other time. Let me, however, state that the late Honorable Justice Ogwuegbu contributed immensely in shaping our legal jurisprudence and laid the foundation for some of our legal principles through numerous landmark rulings he delivered during his lifetime on the bench. In the case of Attorney General of the Federation and Attorney General of Abia State Number 2, citation provided, which was a dispute between the federal government of Nigeria and some states some states on the determination of the state territories for the purpose of derivation and calculation of revenue as it relates to the question whether the power resides over where the power resides over territorial waters and exclusive economic zones Honorable Justice Ogwuegbu had this to say, quote, "It is Nigeria as a sovereign state which can exercise jurisdiction and right as a coastal state over her territorial waters, contiguous zones, other zones in which she has a special interest, and the high seas, and will answer the claims of other members of the international community for any breach of our obligations and responsibilities under international conventions such as the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, 1982, and not our littoral states who have no international personality," unquote. Just as His Lordship made his mark in matters of national concern, so he did in matters as between private citizens, thereby assisting in promoting healthy social engineering and a just society. In the case of Yusuf and Akindipe, for example, citation provided, His Lordship re-emphasized the possessory right of citizens in occupation of land, properties to maintain an action in trespass on the land in order to protect their interest thereon. His Lordship had this to say, and I quote, "From the writ of summons and statement of claim, the plaintiffs have prima facie shown that they are in exclusive possession of the mosque situate at the two addresses mentioned and that the defendants interfered with their possession. Since only the person in possession can sue for trespass, it cannot be argued that the plaintiffs have no legal possession, have no legal capacity to invoke the jurisdiction of the court under Section 6(6)(b) of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, for the determination of the legal rights which they assert. I am in no doubt that they disclosed in their statement of claim their standing to institute the proceedings. See the case of Abraham Adesanya and President of Nigeria, citation given, so quotation closes. Let Honorable Justice Ogwuegbu's rulings and opinion, even his dissents, reflect the character, work ethic, and commitment. Even when he was neither presiding nor delivering a lead judgment in the court, he rarely just concurred without issuing an opinion. Thus, in the case of Egfiong and the state, citation provided, he gave a dissenting judgment and made a notable pronouncement relating to the deplorable state of administration of criminal justice system in the following admirable words, quote, "It must, however, be pointed out that a situation where the appellant was in custody for 5 years without his arrest and conviction because the state could not provide transport to convey him to court to stand trial within a reasonable time for such a serious offense is a dangerous signal to the administration of criminal justice in this country. While the courts may have their own share of the blame, the other arms of government have not shown enough interest in the institutions of the criminal justice administration and have regarded those institutions as no priority areas."
My Lord, let me put on record that I'm holding the brief of our leader, Professor A.B. Kasumu, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, to present this tribute on behalf of late Honorable Justice Ogwuegbu, JSC. I met Honorable Justice Ogwuegbu in 1986 when I joined the bar as a very young practitioner at Aba. He was serving as the administrative judge as set out in the Honorable CJN's tribute. One thing we knew Justice Ogwuegbu at that time was that he was very punctual to court. He starts his sitting by 9. And we were meant to know that he left a standing instruction to his registrar that any time he is not in chambers by 8:30, by 9 o'clock, that he should give lawyers dates so that they can go and do other things. His Lordship, I can regard him as a teacher because he made out time to teach young lawyers how to cope and practice law. If you appear in his court, you are sure you are going to learn something. And if for any reason you made a mistake, he will inform his clerk to invite you to his chambers, and he will use that opportunity to correct you. We took delight in appearing in his court because we know we are going to learn something when he was the High Court judge. He was very erudite, cerebral, and intelligent. Those of us that had opportunity to read his judgment before he was elevated to Court of Appeal at the Imo State Law Report, you will notice that this is a material that deserves to be respected. My Lord was also very impartial in his judgment. His judgment is very simple, direct to the point, and very concise. I wouldn't want to repeat what others have said, but I know him as a father, a mentor, and a teacher. And I pray that now he's no more, we'll be able to take home some of these qualities we found in him. I therefore, on behalf of the body of senior advocates, extend our heartfelt condolences to the family of Ogwuegbu JSC, and it is our fervent prayer that God will grant his gentle soul eternal rest. Thank you, my Lord.
The president of NBA, Maazi Afam Osigwe, who sent his apologies for his absence today, as the NBA is holding the National Executive Committee meeting in faraway Ilorin in Kwara State. That is why our president is not able to join us this afternoon, sir. He sends this address for me to deliver on his behalf. I will just read his address. My Lords, the Honorable Chief Justice of Nigeria, my Lords, Presidents of the Court of Appeal and other superior courts of records, senior advocates of Nigeria, esteemed members of the bar, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. We gather this solemn day in the hallowed courtroom of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, not merely to mourn, but to honor, to celebrate, and to preserve the noble legacy of a jurist whose life and career were a testament to integrity, scholarship, humility, and service, the late Honorable Justice Emmanuel Ogwuegbu, JSC retired, CON. When the news of his passing filtered through the legal community, it was not only met with profound sorrow, but also with an overwhelming sense of gratitude, for here was a life fully lived, a robe worn with honor, and a gavel wielded with the restraints of wisdom and the courage of truth. My Lord Ogwuegbu was by every metric that counts in the service of justice an extraordinary man. Born nearly 92 years ago, his Lordship's odyssey through the legal and judicial profession reflects a pilgrimage of purpose, a reflection of the finest values of public service and the noblest traditions of the judiciary. From modest beginnings as a clerk in the Okigwe Native Authority in the 1950s to his elevation to the highest court of the land, his trajectory was not just remarkable, it was inspirational. He studied law at the University of Liverpool, obtained an NLM from the University of London, and was called to the English bar at Middle Temple in 1962. His early academic pursuits foretold the disciplined and intellectually rigorous jurist he would become. But he was never seduced by prestige or distracted by title. Justice Ogwuegbu chose the narrow path of principled excellence and walked it quietly, courageously, and consistently. Justice Ogwuegbu was not a judge of flourish or theatrics. He was a scholar of the law, a philosopher on the bench, and an arbiter of truth. In an age where judicial courage is often tampered by politics or public pressure, his Lordship exemplified a rare independence of thought, tempered only by the boundaries of justice and the letter of the law. His lead judgment in Sunday, Effiong and the State, delivered on 29 May 1998, remains a model of careful judicial reasoning in criminal adjudication, delicately balancing the scales between legal precision and human empathy. His role in the famed Attorney General of the Federation versus Attorney General of Abia State and 35 others, a case which shaped Nigeria's fiscal federalism and the derivation principle, speaks to his lordship's deep understanding of constitutional law and national equilibrium. His concurrence in the decision that the derivation be calculated based on the low watermark was not just a legal interpretation, it was a thoughtful reflection on the spirit of the Constitution. Despite the weight of office and the grandeur of his accomplishments, Justice Ogwuegbu was known for his humility, his warmth, and his humane outlook. He was not a man of vanity, nor was he seduced by the trappings of power. He carried himself with quiet dignity, preferring substance over ceremony, and choosing to be remembered not for what he owned, but for what he gave: justice, service, mentorship, and honor. The true measure of a judge is not in the length of tenure or the number of cases adjudicated, but in the depth of impact and integrity of decisions. By this measure, Justice Emmanuel Ogwuegbu was a judicial titan. He rendered our laws clearer, our institutions stronger, and our democracy more stable. His journey through the law was not accidental. It was destiny fulfilled. He came, he saw, he reasoned, and he delivered. As we bid farewell, we at the Nigerian Bar Association extend our deepest sympathies to the Ogwuegbu family, the Imo State Judiciary, the Eastern Bar Forum, and indeed the Nigerian judiciary as a whole. My lords, colleagues, and friends of justice, let us rise, not only to mourn a departed jurist, but to salute a life of service, to honor a mind that inspired, and to preserve the vision of a man who, in wearing the robe, bore the weight of a nation's hope. Justice Emmanuel Ogwuegbu has answered the final call, but his voice still echoes in the law reports, in the hearts of those he mentored, and in the conscience of a profession he helped to shape. May his lordship's noble soul find eternal peace in the bosom of the Almighty. Thank you very much.